Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the KRCA Podcast. I'm Liam Waddick, your host, also known as Critic Words. My main event would be probably Pyraminx or Clock, but I'm not actually good at either of them.
I'm Isaac Ladder, or NZ Cuba, and I guess my main event would be Skewb.
I'm Jasper Murray, or Jasper Murray, and my main event is Pyraminx. I know it's a pretty bad event, to be honest, but I also like 3x3, so don't hate on me.
Sick. So yeah, this is like the first time we've ever done anything like this, like podcasting or... I don't know, we sometimes call each other this randomly, but yeah, we thought it would be a good idea anyway. So, if you don't know what KRCA stands
This
for...
should be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. KRCA is like a small group that started a while ago that I didn't actually start in. I'm not sure if Isaac did, but yeah, Jasper started in that.
No.
Okay, no, I'll explain this,
Yeah.
just get the basic concept across. Okay, so I'll just do the whole thing then. So the KRCA is the Kiwi Rubik's Cube Association. I believe that's what it stands for. And it's basically us and a couple of our friends where we keep track of the best that anyone's done. So kind of like an unofficial WCA, but only between us. So it started in like January when we and Dwayne were bored and had way too much time in the holidays. So we were just like, let's just make a record sheet to see which of us is better in each event. And then at one point, our good old friend, the man, the myth, the legend, Adrian, joined, and then a bunch of other people got added, and then we made a Discord server. And now I used to have basically all the records, and now I only have two.
I stole a lot of them. I've all the unimportant ones.
So now we're gonna get on to the debate.
Yeah.
Should we call it debate? Should we just say the questions, or what? Debate sounds like it just sounds
You're
too.
right,
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not much of an organized debate, but
Yeah.
basically we're just going to be discussing a few questions on is 3x3 color neutrality worth it for CFOP, and what official event would you add to the WCA, and what's your opinion on feet being removed? So let's just dive right into that.
Okay.
So the first one is 3x3 color neutrality worth it?
Who wants to start?
Whoever has their opinion first.
Okay, I was the person who came up with this idea, so I guess I'll start. So in my opinion, 3x3 color neutrality is definitely worth it, but not necessarily. So let's just say you're starting off, you're cruising along with the beginner's method, you're averaging like 2 minutes and you're feeling good about yourself, and you're looking for some ways to get faster. Now, I would highly recommend, if you're at this speed and you're listening to this, then definitely go ahead and become color neutral, because it's just so much better than normal cross, and at this point you're not going to be used to wide enough for it to be hard. And I feel like if you're like above 20 or maybe like 15, it could also be worth switching. But after that it gets a little iffy, where it's like, so if you're like sub 15, unless you have heaps of time to practice, then I would recommend just like maybe doing 2 or 1 cross colors, because it's going to take a lot of practicing to switch, and it's like, it is better, but like, it's not worth all that hard work if you don't have a lot of time, if it's going to take like 6 months.
Yeah.
My opinion on it is, I think definitely learning white and yellow is useful, because yellow's not too much harder than white, because it's pretty much the same colors. More than that though, it's gonna take a bit of practice, and I think like most people are still like more comfortable in the color that they learnt with. I guess it's useful, but I would just recommend like 2 colors, just for like,
Well, the main thing is just like, it's really useful for planning first F2L pair.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that at the
Yeah.
moment, and it's really annoying on 1 cross color, so that would help a whole lot. But yeah, what do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I
Liam?
think if you find it like really hard to learn full color neutrality, it's not really worth it if you struggle like being faster on one side or one color. But yeah, definitely the opposite colors for whatever one you learned on. So like white, yellow, blue, green, stuff like that. Because I'm still trying to get used to yellow cross, because for some reason I haven't done that yet. But
Oh yeah, I'm just starting
Yeah.
to do that.
but if you can't really learn color neutrality like every color, then I don't know, not really worth it unless you get used to it somehow.
Yeah. So the next question is about what event we would add to the WCA. So I guess I'll start out again. Um, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say there are a lot of good ideas for this, but I don't think we should have like heaps and heaps of events in the WCA, because then at that point it's just like it doesn't mean a whole lot to be an official event, and it's going to be really hard to run them all at competitions. So that's not a great situation. So I feel like, I mean, maybe if we removed like clock and feet, we'll get into that a bit later, then we'd have a bit more room. But I'd say the things that we would definitely want is like the Ready Cube, Team Factory, and I would say Master Pyramids.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think definitely want to add like an event that's smaller, because a lot of newer cubers, there's not a whole lot of events you can actually compete in. Like, there's quite a
Yeah.
few blind events, and like 5x5, 6x6, 7x7, you might not make the cutoff. So I think an event like, Ready Cube or something would be good.
Yeah, the thing is about Ready Cube is that it's really similar to Scube in a way. It's like,
Yeah.
because every event.
Okay, I'd say maybe not Ready Cube,
Yeah.
but
Kibby Minx
instead.
seems
Yeah,
like
I
a
was-
good
I was thinking of
thing.
Killer Minx as well, but yeah, maybe.
Oh, Kibby
You're-
Minx is,
Kibby
is
Minx,
the
yeah.
actually the official
Is
term.
it?
It used to be called Killer Minx. There was a wee bit of a revolution, and then somebody, I forgot which company, but they released one and actually called it a Kibby
Oh,
Minx.
okay.
So that's pretty good. It's basically a 2x2 version of a Mega Minx, and I think that would be quite good, because I think like if you know how to solve a Mega Minx, it'll probably take like a minute. But I think
Yeah.
like the really fast people at Mega Minx could get like really, really good at it.
Yeah. Just like, I guess depending on hardware, really, because right now like the hardware's not that great, but
Yeah, I wonder how fast Killer Minx in our world record would be. Like under 5 seconds maybe.
oh, under like 10, because
I mean,
yeah.
sub 10. I think people have done, have they? I mean, eventually, if it was added like soon, in like 5 or 10 years, how
Yeah.
fast would it end up?
Although I think we might have some differing opinions on this last question, which is should feet, 3x3 with feet, be removed from the WCA? So I think Liam should start, because he is the most experienced with this event.
Yeah, I did a bit of feet like a few months ago in Efton because I can't make cut off at all. They had like a gym type floor and it was really hard, and I just couldn't do it. I tried swapping cubes for the second attempt and it was still really hard. But I don't think it should be removed because there are a lot of people that practiced a lot for it and then they just can't do it anymore. People who are mainly just world class at feet. So I don't think it's really fair. I don't know.
Okay, so I am against 3x3 with feet being removed, because it's really interesting how you can come up with like really efficient like block building solutions that wouldn't be viable that much in 3x3 for like CFOP or ZZ or whatever, and also how useful like last layer arcsets is, and how it's so like smooth, because like people like OH, because it's really easy to, it's like slow motion 3x3, but feet is like the extreme version of that.
Yeah. Another point I have to add is that like feet could also be a really good spectator event. Like it is fun to watch. See
Yeah,
everyone do it
but
really fast.
it's also a
Maybe
bit,
my
wee
friend made
bit
this
weird.
joke about people using toe tricks instead of finger tricks.
Yeah, but like I feel like
Great.
if you like, certain non-cubers might think it's kind of really weird,
Yeah.
which is
yeah.
one of the main arguments that's being removed is
Yeah.
that it kind of shines a negative light on cubing for some people who would find it very
Yeah.
strange.
That's
Also,
probably why
like-
they don't hold feet much at mini comps. Just
Yeah, I
nationals
don't
and
think-
stuff usually.
I don't think a whole lot of people compete in feet, do they? Or is it pretty popular?
In New Zealand, it's not. It's like 5 people at nationals and stuff.
Right.
I think it's grown more actually because there are like nearly 10 people who did it at qualification. I think.
So one thing about what I was saying just before about people think it's weird is, I don't think that's actually a valid argument now I think about it, because like the decisions they make about the WCA should ultimately be to benefit the competitors, not the spectators. So that shouldn't really be taken into account
Yeah.
with decisions.
I do have a quick story to say here. So, I was at this thing, and my friend was introducing me to some of their friends, And the way they introduced me was, this guy can solve a Rubik's Cube with his feet in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, dude, just say I can solve it with my hands in 8 seconds. And it's just sort of like, yeah.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah. No, my PB is 7.9.
Oh, nice.
But it wasn't at the time.
Hey, I've never heard you talk about feet at all, Isaac.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was 5 minutes. It might have been even longer. But I did it, like, I posted some videos, like, 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I did, like, the 30mm one with my
And
feet.
that is how you not make friends. That's how you don't make friends.
So I think that this topic might have... This is basically an extension, but I think this will have some more differing opinions. Finally, more like a debate, which is, should clock be removed? Now, personally, I think clock should definitely be removed. It's really stupid how, like, you can't tell if it's sold from far away. And, like, there's so many DNFs, and it, like, the regulations around it just make it so, like, hard to run and organize, and it's just like absolutely nothing like any other event. It's not really a twisty puzzle.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit with the theme. Like, everything else has like a certain theme, and then clock is just like a puzzle. It's not really like a twisty puzzle. It's like a wooden puzzle.
It's basically like a 15
Yeah,
puzzle.
it kind of is. I'm kind of half and half on this, because, like, I find clock really fun, and So I spent a lot of money just trying to get a good clock, just so I can try and win nationals, because not many people practice it, and I'm already like nearly nearly national class at it.
Okay, should we move on? Yeah.
Oh, one thing we forgot to mention is this is New Zealand based.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably should have
So-
mentioned that.
We're all from New Zealand, but like.
Well, I
we're
think
talking
they
about
would have realized when we said the KRCA what that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, so we're talking about like worldwide topics and stuff. So we'll try to get some guests in who are from around the world, and some Kiwis probably as well.
I think we should probably focus on Kiwis to start with.
Yeah, maybe.
Liam, we can get the other
people on.
Jasper Murray.
Oh my god, yes, that guy from Facebook. Should we talk to them about the story? 'Cause it's a great story.
Yeah, no, it's a great story.
It's a pretty top-notch story.
I was trying to find Dwayne's Facebook because I like didn't have his, and I'm pretty sure I'm friends with like a couple other people. So I tried finding his Facebook, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Jasper has Facebook as well. So I searched up Jasper Murray, and it comes up with like this bald Arabian man. And
It became a meme, pretty much.
yeah. So we made an emoji on the server of just that guy from Facebook, some Arabian man, and we called it like Jasper or something.
Yeah, Jasper
We
Murray.
spammed it
Oh,
everywhere.
there's a lot of creepy emojis on our Discord.
We also related it to like the Egyptian pyramids and stuff, because Jasper like he's good at pyramids.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
It's real. It's just a great meme, you know.
Okay, should we move on to the next thing? Okay, Jasper.
So, right, we don't really have a lot of topics this episode because we're just getting started, and also we don't have any questions, but we'll talk a bit more about that later. But the final thing that we have written down here in our plan is to just go over a couple of interesting stories that have happened to us at comps. So, I guess, who wants to start?
In order, so you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was at New Zealand Nationals 2018, and I was just sitting there having a chillin'. Most of the people at the table were competing, and there was like one other person who had a 9x9. And then this dad just comes over and is just like, whoa, is that a 10x10? So like, you hear of all these people saying it, but it feels like no one would actually do it. But like, I mean, if it's a 9x9, it's not that weird. But
I've
the
seen
thing
people
that
do
made
that
this more
before.
amusing, but like, he did this unironically because it was like a parent, so that made it funny. But the thing that actually makes this more of a story is that immediately afterwards, this kid was just like, do you want to build a cube tower? So 2 of them right there.
Is that really like?
It's not really funny, I guess, but I just couldn't think of a story.
Is it like a? It's like a non-cuber phrase though, asking to build a cube
Yeah.
tower.
Yeah.
I don't see any non-cubers asking that.
Yeah, I suppose. This is a really bad
It might be,
story. We'll build up the suspense.
That's
Well,
fine.
actually, they are in order of how good the story is.
Hey.
Yeah, basically. They actually are.
So we're gonna build up suspense, and hopefully next time we'll have better stories. Okay, Liam.
For Isaac's sixth story.
Liam, it's your turn.
Okay, so I don't remember what competition this was. I think it was like Palmerston North 2018 or SNZ Northern 2018, something like that. But I'm not sure about other countries if you're watching from another country. But during lunch at competitions, you're allowed to solve the stations just to practice. So I was practicing at one of the stations, and I had my keeping bag down by my feet, like next to my chair. And lunch finished, so Alex announced the next event. And I went to another table or something and started talking to someone. And I noticed that I didn't have my keeping bag anymore, and I couldn't really find it. So I panicked for a bit because all my cubes were in there, and yeah, there were a lot of them. And I looked at the station that I was at before, and I saw that I was like in the same spot next to my chair. So I went all around the side of the competing stations just to not distract anyone, and I went and grabbed my bag, and then I went back onto the table, opened it to deposit one of my cubes, and none of the cubes were mine. So apparently the bag was the person who was competing, it belonged to them, and it was identical to mine. So realizing I'd just stolen someone's bag, I went back to the station and yeah, put their bag back. And when I came back, tried to find it again, instantly saw that one of my parents moved my bag over to them. So I stole something accidentally and then returned it.
Okay, so this was during Worlds. So Skew Brand won. So I wasn't too nervous going to like Skew. I hadn't been doing a whole lot of practice, but
I think some of you might know where this story's going.
I was thinking I could probably make second round if I got a good average. So it's just like, in the waiting area listening to music, just sort of trying to keep calm. And then the runner called me up to compete. And just as I was sitting down, the guy next to me got a 1.6. And then I got really nervous because I was thinking either this guy is really good or it's an easy scramble. So the judge lifted up the cover and I saw that the scramble was a U-perm, which is like 8 moves. So I put down the cube and started the timer. It was like a really good solve. I didn't lock up and, it was just really smooth. And, I stopped the timer, looked down, and it hadn't started. So it was a DNF, and I was really gutted, and that completely ruined my average. I got like a 7 average. It would have been like a sub 1.1, which would be like second in the world now. So I was pretty disappointed, and I just sort of aimlessly walked around the competition for like half an hour.
And this isn't even the best part.
Maybe another time.
It was actually captured on the Twitch stream and uploaded as a separate
Yeah,
clip.
let's put it in the description. Let's put it in the description.
You can go watch that.
Bottom right, Isaac's on the bottom right.
If you're watching on mobile, make sure to not have the
right.
chat open, otherwise you won't be able to see it. That happened to me.
Okay.
It's so sad,
Yeah,
though.
it is pretty
At least we got an
depressing.
average. I didn't. I think I was in like group 8, which is like 2 groups of 4.
Okay, so the final thing that we need to really say is, please, if you're listening to this, leave some questions for the next episode in the comments. So it's going to be like longer than like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you have any suggestions for like segments or something we could do, or topics for a debate, then definitely leave that as well.
Yeah,
We'll be
that'd be
having
really
some
helpful.
guests on in the future, so if you are interested in that, we might consider you.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have an idea for who could be in the next one.
That's top secret
I won't say
information,
it.
though. Can't be
Top
revealed
secret
to the
information.
public.
JR Cuba. We'll get him in here somehow.
You guys don't even know who I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
I'll tell you after.
Okay, also we're planning to do 1 episode per month, so don't expect this very often.
Yeah. I also might try eventually get this on other like podcast websites like Spotify and stuff. Once I actually get the money.
Yeah, depending on how well this podcast goes.
Yeah, and how it actually ends
And
up,
at this
yeah.
point,
Maybe once it's
you
a
might
bit
be
bigger.
thinking, this seems like a bit of a New Zealand rip-off of the Dilsani podcast. And if you're thinking that, you're
And it
probably
is.
right. Yeah, because that's pretty much what it is. So, yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the first episode of the KRCA podcast. So, yeah, just like Like I said before, just leave any questions for the next episode, any suggestions you have for like segments or debate topics, and yeah, so hope you enjoyed. See you next month, hopefully.
Bye.
Goodbye.